thewellnesscouch.com, streaming wellness into your lives.
Welcome to 100 Not Out, featuring your hosts Dr. Damien Christoph and Marcus Pearce.
Hello, welcome to 100 Not Out, a weekly podcast helping you to master the art of aging well. My name is Marcus Pearce, and here I am with the Mayor of Ikaria, live in the Greek Islands with the great Dr. Damien Christoph. How are you, Damo?
I'm very well, Marcus Pearce. Hey, this is magical. Absolutely magical. You can hear the cicadas in the background. You can see the ocean in the background.
Just I'll part ways here so they can have a look.
Have a look at that, everybody. I don't know what we've done to the sunlight there and the filters. We'll have to see. We'll see after this podcast. But hey, mate, welcome to Ikaria.
We've been here for just on 24 hours, and I think I can actually feel your heart rate dropping piece by piece by piece. So I'd speak for myself and say that I've definitely noticed a real shift in not just relaxation levels, but just the way they live their lifestyle over here. It's definitely contagious. It's what have you noticed? We've done a few Facebook lives and a few posts here and there, but I thought it'd be nice for us to do a podcast now based on being here for a day. What we've already noticed since we've been here. I mean, it's hard not to notice the incredible backdrop and the natural side of things. But what have been the big, ahas for you since we've arrived here on this beautiful island?
A few things, MP. I think the speed at which things occur is quite unique. There's definitely there's no timeline, which I find really fascinating because, as you and I have spoken about before in terms of rituals in the morning, everything from brushing your teeth to oil pulling to sticking your fingers in someone else's...
Brushing or not brushing your teeth.
Coconut oil, putting on your face, all that sort of thing. Here, you kind of wake up and you just get about and eventually have some breakfast. And I don't know if that's just because we're on holidays. I don't think it is. Well, we're not really on holidays, but most certainly what I'm finding is that people around here just do things on what is called Icarian time. And, when I was in Mexico, and this feels very much like Mexico, when I was in Mexico, it was Mexican time. And when you're in Fiji, it feels like Fijian time. It just seems that everywhere other than the Western world, they run on their own time. We seem to run to the beat of a clock. And of course, that in itself is somewhat stressful. But that's one thing that I've certainly found. The other thing I've found is that nothing's a problem. Like, there's no issues. I kind of made a little bit of, not a storm in a teacup, but I didn't sleep that well last night, I'll be honest. I slept on a couch and my head was pushed up against, one arm, and then my feet were pushed up against another thing, and then a mosquito was biting my face. And as much as I was annoyed by it, I tried not to get too annoyed by it. But I mentioned it.
Was anyone snoring?
Marcus was snoring all night. I wasn't going to say anything, but chief, is you a loud snorer last night. And then, anyway, so I mentioned it to Thea, and Thea said, "Okay, no worries, we'll just move you." And so we moved rooms. It was that easy. Like, it wasn't a big deal. When we're in Australia or we've gone to the US or we've gone to the UK, and you ask to move rooms because something's not quite right, they look at you as if to say, "Are you serious? Like, we're not going to do that for you. Like, who do you think you are, a platinum member or something? Even if you are."
They're very caring by nature. They're not worried about history and how long they've known you for or anything else. It's just in their nature to want to help. What about the landscape? I mean, I'm just going to give you the mic. I want to just pan for the video for those on YouTube.
Yeah, okay.
The landscape is remarkable. Everything you see is hills. There's nothing flat. The only thing that is flat is, the ground that we're on right now.
That's true. And we're on a balcony, so that's very flat. But when you look around, it's so dry. It's incredibly dry. And one of the most amazing things about it being so dry is that you think, well, how do things grow here? But, they only eat what they grow. They only eat what what is seasonal. So, yeah, they might get a goat and eat a goat. We're going to have some rabbit tonight. We had octopus last night, which came from the ocean. Marcus and I, just down there, you might be able to see there's a little rock down there, and we were just diving around there today just with some snorkels on, and we saw some beautiful fish there, didn't we? It was amazing.
We did, and as I look down there, I see the hut or the umbrella that people watching might be able to see, but they were just stacked up in a pile, and Damo just had the idea, why don't I get one? And they're not light, and so you were walking along there like a He-Man, carrying one of these big straw.
He-Man was the word that came to my mind.
Yeah. But the thing, and that leads me into this comment that we've spoken a number of times since we've been here, is almost the mindless movement that just seems to occur. It's not a structured exercise regime that Ikarians are actually doing every day. It's just that naturally, again, the landscape, the lifestyle and the rest, it's just part of their life. And it's really like inspiring. I don't want to sound over the top, but it's so inspiring to see people just moving almost because they have to. There's no other way. We've hardly seen any cars on the road.
The car's kind of a destination, aren't they? The cars will grab you and bring you to a destination, then take you to a destination. But it's not like, oh, I'm just going to go to another shop, so I'm going to take a car. Or I just need to get to somewhere and I'm going to take a car. You literally walk to everywhere. And because everything comes off the land, and one of the things that I think Thea said, was that they're not very good consumers. They only really eat and consume the things that they have access to locally on the land, and that's very unique, and I think that's part of what they've preserved here as part of their lifestyle and their culture, is this ability to be self-sufficient as opposed to rely on imports or whatever else they can bring from mainland Greece, from Athens.
I think we were eating, I think it was breakfast this morning, and all of the food that was on the table was from either Thea's family farm, so Thea's husband Ilias is a farmer, or Thea's cousin, or Thea's brother, or the company that Thea's son works for, which is a farming and food company on the island. So all of the food was local. It was either sheep's yogurt or goat's yogurt. The cheese is from, the feta is from the goat. Everything is produced on the island. When we were driving here from the airport yesterday, we passed a Carrefour mini mart, but she said it's no longer it was a bit of controversy when it became a multinational supermarket, so to speak.
Yeah.
But we're talking like a small 7-Eleven sized place, and she said, but that didn't work because, as Damo was just saying, Ikarians aren't great consumers. So it's just owned by one person now. That sign is old. It's not actually Carrefour, it's just an independent business. Same with the petrol stations, same with the hotels here, what we would consider a hotel. I mean, there's no high rises. There's maybe 3 or 4 levels, but that's run by a family or an individual. It really is, and they almost take ownership in the fact that, Ikaria is quite separate from Greece. I mean, they're Greeks by heritage, but they don't buy into a lot of what is happening and probably what a lot of people perceive to be happening in Greece. They really do run their own race, and they're fiercely independent, aren't they?
And they make a point of being independent too. And we're staying, obviously, the place where we're staying right now is a friend of Thea's, but Thea's Inn is just over that way. And they've built the whole, except for the tiles, the roof tiles, which are terracotta tile, they look like they've come from somewhere else, because I don't think they've got any terracotta on this island. There's no clay anywhere here, right? Oh, that's the first truck we've seen, isn't it?
Wow, there's a big red truck. No, we're look, isn't it? Look at us. We're like, there's a truck.
It's amazing. Can you hear Marcus's smoker's cough? That's incredible, isn't it?
10 years of...
It's part of the Icarian lifestyle.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Anyway, so the whole house has been built by things that come from the island. So the cement comes from the island, the rocks, the stones come from the island. Everything has been crafted from the island, which is absolutely fantastic. So I think that's incredible. I think it's amazing. And it indicates and it shows you how independent they are. And I don't know whether or not we've lost our independence, or because we've got a culture of outsourcing to make things easier, that we've lost our independence. But most certainly, these guys here don't outsource much. They insource as much as they possibly can.
Yeah. And, based on that and what we're talking about being fiercely independent, no matter what anyone tells them to do or recommends, they will always value their culture and their tradition and their history over any recommendation of, let's build a hospital here, or let's build another supermarket here, or the rest. They might go, well, that's your great idea.
Yeah.
But based on what we do, this is how we do it. School, and I'm sure this is not just an Icarian thing. I'm sure it's all over Europe. But school goes from 8:30 a.m. till 2 p.m.
Yeah.
They're not worried about packing in the extra hours of the rest. She said, yes, there's times when, people that might be working full time, their kids might be in after school care, all of those things. It's not that they're silly and they're just, stupidly stubborn. They're wisely stubborn in the areas of their life. They protect their lifestyle so much. Where, like you say, we probably mould ourselves compared to based on what other people tell us to do, recommend us to do. I think we were talking about this at dinner last night, how we live in a world where we kind of live in a box, like we do everything the same, like the paleo diet's for everyone or the vegan diet's for everyone. So everyone...
That wasn't me, but
might
I
have been a
agree.
separate conversation.
You might have been talking to someone else.
But the independents, they don't care what everyone else thinks. And as a metaphor for life, it's not wise to. I mean, yes, you can listen or give people the airplay of telling you what they really think. But if we're talking about people giving you parenting advice or food advice or business advice or whatever it is, I think it's really important that we question where that comes from. And what the potential. What's the word? The motive might be,
Implication, motive, that's right. That's a very good point, isn't it? That's a really good point. I was going somewhere with my thought process when you were speaking about that, but I saw this really cute cat over there. I was a little bit sidetracked. There's a lot of cats on the island. We're talking about the absence of bird life, which has been really fascinating. Just looking around, there's not a lot of birds. There's a heap of food for the birds. There's a lot of birds, and I think one of the things we'll explore is the reason why there's not a lot of birds, or apparently, on the island.
Well, all the cats are feral. Did you know that?
Yeah, all the cats are feral. But you would think that they were just pets, But anyway, there's
when people hear feral, they probably think like crazy wild cats, but they're just doing their thing, aren't they?
You can pat them, they'll purr. Yeah, they're quite nice. They're really nice. But I think there's a lot of things that we're still yet to explore and and expand upon. There's a great walk we're going to go on, which takes us over the top of these mountains over here. I'll just show you these mountains for those of you that are watching. See the mountain range up there. We're going to be walking across the top of that. You can kind of see that terrain there. It's quite incredible, isn't it? So we'll be doing all of that, and that takes us to a shopping destination. I don't know how I've gone with that lining up of the camera again. We're doing everything very raw, as you can tell. Very raw. It's not like in 100 Not Out HQ in Brighton, is it? It's a little bit
we
different.
moved the camera around a bit more here.
Yeah, it's a little bit different. But there's a lot more to explore. There's so much more to explore, and we are taking in as much as we possibly can so that we can share this with you guys. As we go by the minute and by the hour, or by the minute and then by the 5 minutes and by the 10 minutes and then by the hour, because it seems to just last a long time, the time here. We kind of think we want to run another Ikarian tour, don't we? Just because I think we'll learn a lot in this one, but there's only more that we can learn. There's more that we can share with a whole lot of other people. So we're just thinking about it, Should we do another one?
I think based on the fact that I know I've had a number of people that for any number of reasons haven't been able to make it this year, and they want to see it. They want to see what this is about. And the more we share this Icarian lifestyle with you through the podcast, through videos, Damien and I are currently putting a program together because really what we don't want people to leave Ikaria, and this is anything, but we don't want people to leave and go, well, that's great, it's great, you can do that in Ikaria, but you can't do that in Melbourne or Sydney or wherever you live. We really want to smash that and go, no, hold on, you don't have to do everything Icarian. We're saying, what can you learn from this experience?
What little pearl?
Yeah.
Well, what pearls? Because there could be a number of different pearls. It doesn't have to be just one thing. It could be a number of different things. You go, oh, I could do that. I could do that. Everything that we've been talking about from, the way in which they move, the way in which they think, the way in which they utilise time, the way in which they socialise, the way in which, they prepare their food. It's not so much just one and not anything else. It's the combination of, and those slight little improvements which we're going to be exploring and exploding within this program. And
I think if people get the confidence of the learnings from what they can improve, but also what we'd really like you to really listen in on over the course of the trip, and whilst you're catching it on Facebook and social media and the rest, is also be reassured by the healthy habits that you've already created.
That's right.
So whether it's the breakfast or lunch or dinner that you have, whether it's your social life, whether it's the way you move your body, I think there's nothing more confidence building than going, you know what, I'm doing a really good job, in certain areas of my life, rather than constantly striving for things which either don't need to improve upon or constantly finding ways to hack. Damo and I are often saying that, productivity's gone nuts in the Western modern, fast, high-tech world. We're always trying to hack something, and there's nothing better than to come here for a sense of a reality check and go, it's incredibly productive to sit around the lunch dining table for 2 hours and just talk.
Oh, they could be.
Oh, yes, they're mine. Thank you, Eparisto. My board shorts.
Yeah, Marcus has been leaving everything everywhere. He left his passport and his wallet in the car. Mm-hmm. He's left his board shorts on someone else's balcony.
I left my neck pillow at London Gatwick security. I'll probably leave my bags at Athens Airport on the way
We're 24 hours into this trip, but he's already lost 3 things. It's one every 8 hours, so there could be something else going on.
I'm not worried though. So
no,
he's
not worried about anything.
The nature's already is rolling off on me.
Well, I think you know, without wanting to take this too long, and in fact, we might keep most of these podcasts while we're in Ikaria relatively short and just topical. I think it's really great if you can just think about, as we go through this process of sharing with you what we've learned in Ikaria. Think about some of the things that we talk about and go, am I doing that? Have I achieved that yet? Is that something that I can implement? Is that something that I want to fix up in my life? Because I know that as I'm experiencing this, I'm going, oh yeah, I could do that in my life as well. Oh yeah, I'm going to share that with Amber. Oh, I'm so grateful that Jackson's here. All these sorts of things. So think about what it is that you've already got, and maybe what are the things that you might want to be changing.
The things that you're pushing SHIT uphill on.
Yeah,
with a pitchfork. With a pitchfork.
Yeah, very hard to do.
That is a good idea for someone else, and it's a great thing to do. But you know what? You're already doing 4 really strong rituals in the morning, and that 5th one, which isn't happening, maybe you'd just be much better off letting it go.
Just do 4.
Just do 4. Yeah. And if 4's too many,
do 3.
Just do 3. I mean, I was talking about this with Shona last night at dinner. I do one thing in the morning because oil pulling and meditating and journaling and gratitudes and the rest, too much. Exercising, one thing, that's great. But I think that's something really important, that you see the lifestyle that people live here. They're not worried about all the things they're not doing or that are too hard. They just do what they want, when they want, how they want. They live their life on their terms, and they're so happy doing it. Yeah,
there's this attitude that if you don't get it done today, you'll get it done tomorrow. And if you don't get it done tomorrow, then, you'll get it done sometime. There's no real hurry. And I know that we're in a race to get things done back in the Western world, but you've got to ask yourself the question, why? What's the race?
It's a very good question.
What's the race? What's the hurry?
On that note, let's wrap up this 100 Not Out. Thank you for your wisdom and for being part of this demo, and for taking the time. And really, what you may not know about what Damo's done here, folks, he's on a 3-generation trip at the moment. Damo's here with his mum, Teresa, and Jackson as well, so it's incredibly powerful to observe. Just watching you guys, I haven't told you, this is such a great photo of you and Jackson down the beach earlier playing in the ocean.
Did you?
And it's the type of photo that I think you could have up on a wall, for the next 40 or 50 years. Just father and son, like stuff that doesn't happen that often.
Yeah.
You're on the other side of the world. Jackson's having his first ever European adventure at the age of, 15 or 16?
15.
Yeah, it's just remarkable.
Yeah.
And to have such quality time with your mum as well, it's beautiful to watch. But yeah, I think we've raised some good questions on here, particularly the why. Why are we doing what we're doing, and what habits are there that are already empowering us, and what are we doing which is just pushing, uphill with a pitchfork. From Damo and myself here at Ikaria, continue to make the rest of your life the best of your life. Make sure you give this podcast a 5-star rating on iTunes. Share the love with the world, whether it's in Europe, America. The more 5-star ratings this podcast receives, the more iTunes are likely to push it through all of the stores worldwide around the globe. Thanks for being part of this podcast, supporting it as always. Until we see you next week on 100 On Out, most likely from Ikaria again, continue to make the rest of your life the best of your life.
This has been a production of TheWellnessCouch.com. Check us out on Facebook and join in the conversation on Facebook.com/TheWellnessCouch. Subscribe to each show on iTunes and check us out on Twitter. The Wellness Couch, streaming wellness into your lives. Whilst the Wellness Couch presenter endeavor to provide accurate and helpful information to their listeners, these podcasts cannot take into account individual circumstances and are not intended to be a substitute for health and medical advice from a qualified health professional. You should always seek the advice of a qualified health professional before acting on any of the information provided by any of the Wellness Couch podcasts.